We're entering into madness hour as far as StarCraft 2 casting goes. It's like 4 hours, I think, is kind of the sweet spot. Just good enough long stream. Not quite tiring your brain out casting wise. 5 hours, you start to do all the sleepover things, you know? Just hanging out with your pals at a sleepover at like 2 in the morning, just doing stupid stuff, finding things funnier than they should be, getting distracted easily. Be on the lookout, because that is going to happen to me. In the bottom left, it is Maplez, or Mape the Ape. And in the top right, it is FoxeR. Both players, again, having played all 5 hours of this qualifier. FoxeR from the upper bracket, Maplez from the lower. FoxeR, gonna go ahead and guess that he's had more grueling games, because this guy has been giving us quite the show. TvP and TVZ. Ended up getting reverse swept by eggs. He found a bit of a weakness against roaches, perhaps. Now faces a new opponent, new race. It's Protoss. FoxeR looked very good against his last Protoss opponent, Eon. However many hours ago that was. When it was a 1 Rex expand, Reaper into Widowmine drop, into push. You know, just like actual bread and butter stuff. That is where he looked quite good. Trying to go for the aggression against someone who was playing very defensive and secure did not work out. But he's playing a very different player as well. I don't know if Maplez is going to be playing like Eon. I would doubt it. Eon was doing, let's say, a very stylistic thing, like 3 games of going 2 base storm into the slower third. Is not what every Protoss does. Maplez did go for a cautionary zealot, didn't actually build it. Gets a Nexus, FoxeR with a 1 Rex expand. I think it probably felt a lot better to him when he did this as well, compared to the factory opener. The factory opener, it's popular. It's you know, it's never not been popular really, but I feel like it's especially popular lately. The 3 Reaper, 2 Hellion. I think if you know, it's a best of 5. Maplez not going to be going into as many like default shield batteries. FoxeR might want to bring it out in one of these games, but we'll see. Maplez really changing things up, actually, going for a Stargate. Not just Twilight Council. Bunker coming down for FoxeR. Doesn't need to be wary. No ramp to help guard him, but it's an Adept opener. Adept into Adept into Adept. And FoxeR is not aware of this being a Stargate, nor will he ever be aware. Reaper wall off, although he could jump in and see it, actually. One of those, if he knew it was going to be there, obviously he would do it, but all he knows is that the Reaper's been walled off. He's going to try and get in through the natural. Adepts are constantly threatening the main, and even to an extent, the natural, yeah. Yeah, I think you get a fresh mule, that would be fantastic. Almost did. Didn't want to lose the Adept for it. Reaper doesn't go into the main, instead just grabs a probe in the natural. I was supposed to grab 1 probe. Oh no, the misclicking! No, he's already tilted. That sucks. He's already tilted and he misclicked because he should have been able to get the probe and get to the main base. 2 probes, or 2 SCVs go down as the Adepts do continue to shade into the natural. They didn't kill the mule, but they might as well have. The mule is not mining, and that just sucks. I mean, if you knew they were going to build Adepts and you knew they were going to do the aggression, you maybe would have built the mule in the main. But you don't want to mine out your main as fast, and well, anyway. Mule will get a couple of trips. Mape the Ape. I love the name. Gonna go into Phoenix Colossus by the looks of things. Whoa! A Protoss player who doesn't go blink into Storm and or Colossus off of 3 bases? Oh my god. There's variety. Thank you, Maplez. Thank you. Stargate just such a... I'm not gonna say underused, because I think it's you know, the state of the game does, and Twilight Council is a fun build, but it's not used very often. It's not. And then when it is built, and we're like, oh, what if it's something else? It builds like 1 Oracle, and then they go into Blink anyway, and you're like, well, why did you do that? But that was very clearly a Phoenix opener. The scan saw a Phoenix before the Phoenix moved away. Unless FoxeR wasn't looking at that time, he should know. It is Colossus with the Robo. That's something that FoxeR was not able to scout, so there's really 2 options currently. Phoenix Colossus or Phoenix Zealot. Phoenix Zealot could happen. I don't know. I don't play against Maples. FoxeR probably does quite a bit, so he would know all of the ways that Maples could play. But I can't give any more insight to that. Mape, it's really something to call him Mapes instead of Maples. Maples is going to just look around with the Phoenix for a while. I mean, he is just looking for any opportunity to find damage, and if that was, for instance, a Widowmine drop that's been just hiding somewhere, he would have taken it. There is a Widowmine drop build, but we just didn't use it. Not very good idea against someone who has a bunch of Phoenix. And instead, Widowmine was placed to defend against the Phoenix, more likely, but the Adepts end up tanking it. Missile turret to defend against the Phoenix combines together to make that attack really do nothing. Just 3 Adepts losing their lives for nothing in return. And the attack is about ready to go. Maple's Phoenix have not found any damage. They're still useful. They will be very important for the defense. FoxeR, how confident does he feel moving out? Because again, he doesn't quite know that it is Colossus versus Charge. I mean, if he runs out, there could be 20 Zealots waiting for him. No, Widowmine placement working out well for FoxeR. Does lose a couple Marauders, however, and a Medivac to the Phoenix. It's just so annoying. And Maples, by doing this, isn't only getting bits of damage, he's also ensuring the army stays at home, but loses a Phoenix. Oopsie-daisy. So he has plenty of time to get up his defenses here. Because he needs that time. He does need the time. 1 Colossus is not quite enough. 2 Colossus, that's a shield battery. That's going to feel a lot better. Don't lose the Phoenix. FoxeR finally unleashed from his own base. 30C finishing up. Production looking solid. Maples, though, has gotten to those 2 Colossus with shield batteries at the 3rd. Now to the natural, he realizes maybe this is a little vulnerable if he comes in from this direction, and is going to just barely miss the actual direction of the army. Now that means the shield batteries are going to be gunned down. The pylon, okay, good. That's also a good target. Yeah, exactly. 2 Colossus, though, against no Vikings. The Phoenix are coming back as well. It's going to be a... you know, maybe you take the fight with the Concave, but no, not really. Marines, I love this. This is actually where the damage is really being done. 12 probes go down, 14 probes go down, as just 5 Marines segment themselves off from the main army, snickering to themselves, yeah, I'm gonna get these probes, yeah. And they do. They get every last probe. 19 go down. FoxeR also manages to save some amount of army on the retreat, as FoxeR is kind of just like, you know, moving every which way. Looks like Phoenix died. More Phoenix die, actually, to a Widowmine shot. That was supposed to be a pretty good defense, all things considered. You know, he did lose the shield batteries. That was the only kind of concerning thing. But then his army was there in time to defend it. It just, you know, 5 Marines. That's all it was. FoxeR, though, is in some trouble. Where are the Medivacs? Where's the rest of his army? The Medivacs were not built fast enough. 2 of them finally popping out. But those Colossus, they have no counter. And they are going to be able to abuse now FoxeR's own choke. 3rd CC has to lift and leave. SCVs are going to be goners. Maples actually does back away from the choke. Maybe FoxeR could try something. Pull the SCVs on the backside, for instance. But he still needs a healthier army. He's going to pull all the SCVs from the natural and from the 3rd. Is this going to be good enough? He's going to gun it after Colossus. He jumps forward into the arms of the Zealots. There weren't that many, though, and that might have been the play. So many SCVs have gone down. Archons do form. FoxeR is not going to break out of this. And Maples will take game number 1. FoxeR. I don't know if there was a gap in his production. Or maybe he just really did lose too much on the offensive, but yeah, too underprepared for the counter. GG's. And I don't even get to relax after this. I gotta pack the car, make sure I'm not forgetting anything to take to safe house. Ugh. I'm gonna follow that probe. In the bottom right, up 1, he is Maples. In the top left, he is FoxeR. I didn't go back to look. Figured they wanted to get in game immediately. I'm not sure about it, but it did look like FoxeR had just missed a macro cycle in some way or form. Was supply blocked, was banking minerals, was prioritizing production over the actual like units because he built a second starport. Maybe he should have built medevacs. I'm not sure, but it did kind of feel that way. It was a matter of just having a couple of extra critical units ready when Maples arrived at his third, so I think really make the difference there. Because having to back away from your third into your own choke without the medevacs already healing the bio that is, you know, then fully healed before the warp prism came to reinforce is just a difference that can't be understated. But we gotta move on, and so does FoxeR. He needs to figure out that this is a proxy 2 gates. You know, sometimes Hero sends out this super fast probe and I follow it, and it's just to be a dick, just to harass the SCPs. But this is actually a proxy. And FoxeR, unfortunately, thinks he's getting the benefit here. Is getting the engineering bay block that is certainly going to mess up Maple's build order. Nope. Unfortunately not. Thankfully, he is going to scout with his SCV and see a disturbing lack of anything. Perhaps he does it fast enough that he does not build his command center on the low grounds and he builds a bunker on the high ground. This is what he needs. This is what he needs. I think he's double checking, triple checking in his brain. There it is. Bunker. No command center as of yet. Factory instead. Definitely what he needs to do. I would not mind a wall. So, you know, like the alternative is he builds the supply depot and then add on, or he could have repositioned his barracks, I guess, too. But either way, that would have been lost production time. Actually, I think this does end up being better because the add-on, you can't repair it while it builds, and it does tend to fall. I think this is better, actually. FoxeR ends up holding. This is a proxy 2 gate. I mean, I haven't cast one of these in forever, so just to be clear, this is very dedicated. This does no damage so far. FoxeR is in a wonderful position. So, really nice response. I mean, very important that he did bother to SCV scout. There is absolutely a world where a engineering bay block SCV says, job done, and leaves. Second engineering bay block is kind of cute, although he didn't cancel it, so 125 minerals down. But, yeah, great that he was able to scout and react. This means that his engineering bay block is also, you know, effective. It actually is blocking a nexus and forcing Maples to take a very uncomfortable third that also delays mining. If that is what Maples ends up doing. Maples, being a little tricky, sends the probe out elsewhere after it was so totally 100% man gonna get a nexus. He is going to proxy, what, a robo? What do we do here? I don't know, but I'm here for the ride, man. I don't know the destination. Proxy, oh, Dark Shrine. Oh, I didn't even notice he got a Twilight Council. Completely missed that. All right, that makes more sense. That makes sense he's getting a Dark Shrine then. FoxeR did not see the Twilight Council, has no scouting. Proxy, gateway for the Dark Shrine now. I assume he will rebuild these gateways too. FoxeR, how on guard are you against this? How much do you know Maples is tricky, 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 tricky? He is looking to get his starport with a tech lab, so that's a good sign so far. This could be a Raven. Could also be Banshees. Sometimes when you feel like you have to be safe as a Terran player, Banshees can feel like a good option because they are kind of good like early game defensively, and they also can go across the map and harass. It is a Raven, thankfully. FoxeR. I mean, both of these guys are great. Love the games that FoxeR's been giving us. Maple's been grinding out in the lower bracket. But, you know, I don't want FoxeR to go down 2-0 in such a fashion. You know, it's a little cruel, okay? So, I'm just against Terran cruelty. Cruelty against Terran. But yeah, it looks like he's going to be really well set up against this. And Maples is completely all in, by the way. Like, he's getting a Nexus, but there's no way Proxy 2-gate fails into the one base Dark Shrine. I mean, come on. This should not be a game that FoxeR loses. But you know, there's always a chance. First DT swipe. Rolls his eyes. Protoss. No. He's going to deal with it. Very conservative there from Maples. Just the one DT. Oh, and he taps out. Good guy, Maples. Because as I was saying, this is just so dedicated. Of course, FoxeR should win. But you know, sometimes these Protoss players, they decide, I'll spend a couple of minutes being as obnoxious as hell. And then it is still a little tilting. Good guy Maples is like, nah, fair enough. You got this one, buddy. Played enough NA ladder, know you always get a Raven after fail with Proxy 2-gate. It is very good advice. So now the series is tied up 1-1. Top right, Maples. Bottom left, FoxeR. Maples gets a great, you know, macro game 1 and tries to be cheeky in game 2. I like the process. Didn't work out. FoxeR's SCV scout, as I say, is very important. If he had just left, he puts Commander on the low ground and the Zealots show up, he has to cancel. It's already chaotic. Then the higher ground doesn't have a wall. Then he might be building a tech lab or a reactor rather on the barracks. Then he has to cancel that to get any type of production. I mean, it really would have snowballed. FoxeR, I like it. Gonna proxy barracks. Will that be it though? The way that he has positioned the barracks, I almost want to say that it won't be it. But I don't know. I don't know. In higher league games, you don't usually see a barracks factory both proxied alongside a starport, but it does happen. There was a meta where it happened all the time back in like 2018. There are cheeky buggers on the ladder who will absolutely do it. Is FoxeR one of those guys, or is this just for the Reaper? More likely than not, right? The Protoss will scout, so this is not something you're hoping not to have happen. Maybe if he didn't scout, that actually could change your plans. You maybe would go for a proxy factory if there was no probe scout, but in this case, he's still proxy factoring even with the probe scout. Maples knows that something is up, obviously. The more that he doesn't see a factory at home as the probe is still alive, the more he realizes it's one base. Yeah, they're going to proxy the factory, we're going to proxy the starport too. Although, maybe right now there also could be a bit of concern for proxy 2 racks. Well, I see as much gas. Yeah. You still don't know exactly what's going to be coming out of these proxies. What is the barracks being used for? What is the factory being used for? What is the starport being used for? Currently, FoxeR adds on a reactor. Then a tech lab. So Marine tank, Liberator. Even Viking, actually. Vikings are a little bit cheaper and grounded. They're very good against gateway units. What's also really abusive about this is that the Protoss who, and Maple showed in the past, in his first game that he does wall against Reapers, is that this is also now a vulnerable point if the tank gets close enough. Probe goes scouting around for the proxies, does catch just the tail end, I think, of the tech lab. And the Stalkers are going to try and do something before this gets nice and comfy up against the ledge. The tank wins, though, so the Stalkers can only do so much. Maple still went for a Nexus. So he does need this second gateway to finish, but he did grab it. Third gateway on the way, too. Attack just about ready to go. Medevac coming out now. Into Liberator, perhaps. Does siege up the tank. Maples has to walk into it just to kind of get the scout. And the mind games will continue. Second tank will siege hop. Just the fact that this isn't already in this mineral line, siege, is already good news for Maples. It's not the end of the defense, of course, but it's already good news. It will eventually get there, though. And it's how much was Maples able to build before the structures are now in trouble. Pylon's vulnerable. Cybernetic core is also vulnerable. You delete that, no more Stalkers, no more Depths. No high ground action? That's cute. Repair is good. Not good enough against this many stalkers. The Marines, they all lifted up, actually, and I'm not sure that was the... well, what with bunker hopping in the main base? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is this actually a thing? I don't know. Bunker is not going to complete from that one SCV, but it might from the next one. Tank is going to siege up. Maples redirects the target over there, and he is going to take the tank down, but at a great loss of his own stalkers. Liberator has arrived. Bunker is going to finish. 4 SCVs still up and running thanks to the medevac healing, and suddenly the Liberator is sieged up on the probe line. Oh, this is getting really awkward. Zealots had to be made because Cybernetic Score did indeed die, only just now being remade, and FoxeR with the cheese might just be winning game 3. All the Zealots are gone. One stalker ain't gonna cut it. Units entering into the natural. I mean, only 2 Marines. Probes could take care of that. Cybernetic Score is done. Stalkers are being warped in. That's the good news. The bad news is more siege units are on the way. FoxeR could get another Liberator. Guys, it's had to go for a tank. I think that is the good call, but he might still be able to afford a Liberator, and Maples is going to tap out. FoxeR now up 2-1. Once again on the brink of qualifying. Myself, I prefer the Hellion drop into the battlecruiser push, but, you know, each their own. Game number 4 here on Torches. Top right, Maples. Bottom right, FoxeR. Yeah, it's not a Thanius build. Just because it has a battlecruiser. He doesn't own all battlecruiser builds. No, it's a fantasy build. Fantasy big brain. I really wish he had some time to just play StarCraft 2 casually, because he actually enjoyed StarCraft 2 unlike some other Brood War pros. And apparently he does play it occasionally, just like he plays Brood War again occasionally. But only when he doesn't have a, you know, coaching job to do. Like the squirrel. I assume this was for Koreatown, but then there's an extra K, so I don't know what this actually stands for. I was listening to Pigcast, and he had a whole thing about it being Cracktown. Kirktown. Okay. Why though? I came back to playing StarCraft 2. I didn't realize they buffed PCs to move and shoot. That is quite a surprise to come back into. Alright. Looks to be a factory expand here from FoxeR. Maples. Nexus after Cybernetic Score. You know, FoxeR, I said in the first game, you know, the factory expand didn't really work out against Eon so much, but he was getting the double shield battery caution play. And if Maples doesn't do that, which so far he hasn't, then there is a little more potential to the Reaper Hellion opener. Probe barely gets out. Let's just track this guy. Did I say 2 Reaper Hellion? 3 Reaper Hellion. Whatever, numbers are a concept. It's fine. Anyway. Maples, he did go for a Stargate in the last time we got that far in a game. But it seems like with the Stalker opener, I'm kind of leaning more towards the Twilight Council. Something this Reaper will get an eye on before skedaddling. They're going to have at least 1 shield battery. Okay, he's going to do double shield battery. He did scout the factory expand after all. And this is a pretty surefire way of not taking damage. It kind of sucks for the Protoss. Because, you know, 200 minerals to defend against what, you know, in some other cases is defended without that. Basically, you know, like it's... You can... There are games where there's no shield battery and Reapers and Hellions don't do that much damage. But the chances of the Reapers or the Hellions getting into a pocket that is under-defended and killing those 4 probes that they weren't supposed to is I would say, pretty high. So I think we're seeing more and more of this from Protosses. Hallucination will confirm that, of course, it was extra 2 Reapers and the Hellion into Starport. And with the ramp, plus the shield battery in the main, again, there's, I think, very little that FoxeR's opener can do. Also has a force field if he wants it. Could have force fielded in the units, maybe. Two gateways, Twilight Council. FoxeR wants to make sure that's not a 4-gate. Currently it is just sizing up to be a 3-gate. Another hallucination is the priority. Wants to know what the follow-up is. Probably, specifically, you know, Banshees or not.
Let our enemy know our victory.
Stalkers actually came out to tackle the Reaper Hellion. Hallucination sees, yeah, Tech Lab added to the starport, but I mean, the timing was kind of odd. It definitely looks like it's just going to go on to the barracks. Stalker's still chasing after the Reaper Hellion. Poor little probe's looking to die, though. Womp womp. And the Stalkers are actually pulled quite far out of position. Wouldn't mind dropping to the main. Oh, boy. Pulled away fast enough. This one wouldn't mind. Still a bother. Does eventually go down. Natural base? Anything? Nope. And that's when the Terran usually cuts their losses. Just tries to get away with the medevac. He could escape to the left, I think. It's awfully close. Yeah, okay. And he killed a pylon, which is actually quite annoying. You know, so far, the Protoss is doing, let's call it, like, the build. There's not a lot of, my brain hurts. Oh, God. You haven't had to change many things about your build and, like, compensate for a lot of things as of yet, so you're just kind of, like, going along with the build. And part of that build is the pylon at the 3rd, so, yeah, you get supply blocked. It's still early on in the game that these are the things that actually really, I don't know, I find tilting anyway when I play Protoss. I build a pylon that gets killed by Lings or Reapers, whatever it was, and I'm like, well, how are you going to expect me to compensate for that? God. Anyway. 3rd Nexus finally taken, which was also slightly delayed because of all those shenanigans. And I say slightly, I feel like it is more than slightly. Not a bad delay at all in the Nexus, but it's now on the way. Reaper, one more probe. Not going to find it. And the medevac just chill over on the healing shrine. Stalkers are just waiting for anything on the front, which I don't think FoxeR is going to be quite ready to go, even though he's got 2 medevacs. Stim is a long ways off. Charge is on the way. Templar Archives is going to be the choice. So Storm, and more storms. Where are the probes going down? The auto turret harassment. Raven is going to tuck itself into a corner and come back. You might try and tear down the shield battery. We are seeing... Did we say Templar Archives? Yeah. If you clicked on it, it knows the Templar Archives. Feedback can take care of the Raven. Won't kill it, but it can take care of it. Well, we got 2 drops. Headed to the main base of his opponent. Those medevacs that popped out. Stim is almost done. Doesn't quite get the Observer, but kind of knows now, hey, the Observer definitely wasn't in the main. Scouting that the medevacs are heading on over. Maplez does have some units in the main because it's just, you know, it's pretty common on torches. Are they paying attention? Yes, they are. The boost is not what FoxeR really wanted to do, I think, although he does manage to keep both medevacs alive so far. One of the medevacs had a tank in it. Okay. Damn, that was, again, a ballsy play right there. Does end up taking down quite a few Stalkers, but loses the entirety of his own army. Auto-turret in to try and help out a little bit. Attack on the front lines as well. Maplez does realize it, doesn't realize it. He does. He is microing this very intentionally. At the end of that fight, you know, 6 Stalkers did go down. So I think that drop was okay. Overall, resource trade not favoring the Terran. But I just feel like that was going to be worse because I saw the Stalkers killing that medevac that got low much sooner. 3rd CC now on the way. Extra barracks as well. Storm was the play. FoxeR knew that. Where is the Ghost Academy? The thing is, you can't get Ghosts too quickly because they are kind of expensive. But you can't get them, you know, not quickly because you do need it. It's a conundrum. Right now, on 2 bases, the tank helping out and, you know, a decent amount of bio. I think he is okay. These are also going to be late upgrades coming out from Maplez, but they are going to be double upgrades. 4th Nexus now being put down too. And presumably, maybe not right now, but the robotics bay come down too. One of the Observer got the Observer. Maples trades out a Stalker for a Medevac. There is the Ghost Academy finishing up now. As the third also finishes, it does look like the intention is to go for this space as opposed to the triangle with the gold. 3 probes went down, and I think more auto turret harassment. Auto turret harassment's not bad. Stalker scouting for the drop. Observer back on the front. Pylon scouting for a drop on the left. This is where I would expect the second Robo in a robotics bay. Maples, how many High Templars? 4 High Templars. Another auto turret was slapped down, killed 1 probe. 1 Medevac picked up. Pretty good idea. A couple Zealots waiting as well. There's the second Robo and the robotics bay for Maples. FoxeR's going to have 1-1. Not moving out. Not going to get a timing with that. Also doesn't recognize the observer over his base. It's moving now, though. So close to the missile turret. Stalkers are tracking the army. And as the army moves out, the Zealots move in. Strong reaction here from FoxeR with the Ghost Snipes, and I wouldn't mind to help too. The tank kind of helping, kind of hurting. Drop's going to clear out the pylon. Open up an avenue for later. Vikings are now being produced as FoxeR didn't actually scout the second Robo in robotics bay, but you know it's around that time. Also needs to start up his own 2-2, but it's actually quite hard for Terrans to afford all the gas things. On 3 bases anyway. When they get to a 4th base, then it's, you know, like whatever, but... Our reputation is not needing gas is overblown. Medevac drop does end up taking down some Stalkers. Is not being microed now. We got other things happening. Warp Prism in the main for FoxeR. FoxeR also going for a quad drop into the main of his opponent. Eventually will drop out of those, and yes, he does. Oh, the 1 storm did kill the Medevac. Warp Prism taken care of by the looks of things, but the drop, well, how much damage does it do? Goes for the upgrades. Gonna grab both upgrades. Made sure to get both upgrades, and is going to be able to escape with 2 Medevacs, perhaps. Maybe no. Templar Archives also going to fall, and not much more to do. Target fire the High Templar, nicely done. This Medevac looks like it is going to have to die. It does not have the appropriate amount of dead zone. Not the best drop. The killing both upgrades sounds amazing, but that was a lot of army to do that. Warp Prism was pushed away, is going to be killed. That is the good news. The bad news is FoxeR is once again without any Medevacs. That was all the Medevacs. All of them. Didn't start up +2 armor either. So it's a very good thing he delayed those upgrades. Maples, there's a possibility he felt too scared to go for the counter, considering he lost what he did. Timing-wise on the upgrades, but more than that, he knows he killed 4 Medevacs worth of units, so that's kind of a green light, actually. No Medevacs is going to hurt so much. We are trying to get more. I'm a part of this, I am FoxeR, but they are coming out one at a time. Looks like Maples sees a planetary, sees a decent chunk of bio army, and decides not to go for it. Nice eyes with the observer. I think that was important. You know, if Maples had run down the middle of the map to hit the 3rd instead of the 4th, that would have happened perhaps sooner, and would have happened obviously without the planetary there to help. And then I think there might have been some play there. Of course, this 3rd, I was gonna say there's more concave area for the Terran, but that's not actually true, especially with the SimCity. But anyway, FoxeR needed that time. He needed that time to get at least a couple of Medevacs back out. Still needs to worry about the Viking count as well, because there could be 3 Colossus. There is currently 2, and that's where we're staying. Second Terran X Corps already on the way. Interesting. I talk about this, you know, trying to get into the late game and the late game versus Terran, how difficult it is for Protoss to go into the Stargates, and why I do believe, you know, as far as late Terran goes, Liberators with +2 is probably the better. I mean, it is the better army, but I mean, as far as balance-wise, it's probably better, but there's a lot of things that happen before that, right? But anyways, some Protoss players will preempt it, you know, if the game's not going their way fast. They will preempt it. They will go for the Stargates. Some will just try and win the game with, you know, Zerg style of onslaught, right? I'd say the problem going to the Stargates is two problems. One, actually getting to Stargate units, which take up supply, resources, time, all while the Terran, you know, has got the ticking clock of how many Liberators they're buying and whatnot. And then two, are the Stargate units actually that good? It's kind of a big problem, you know, and another reason why a lot of Protoss players don't add on the Stargate, I think. Because, you know, they're aware that Liberators eventually become a problem, and Turtle Terran eventually becomes a problem, but it's not so easy as just I make Tempest, I win. Terran army is still pretty damn good when it is capable of getting... Oh, not stormed, first of all, not stormed. Ouch. But getting to quad production of Starport, Vikings and Liberators and 3-3 bio. Before EWC, we saw Estrella kind of force, you know, late game into late, absurdly late game. And I don't know if that's Maple's plan as well, but it seems like his plan right now is to just get a big ol' attack into the main base after already bullying the main army of FoxeR. Double War Prism to ensure victory there. FoxeR trying to micro on multiple fronts is going to struggle, but so far handling things. I mean, it's not the quickest reaction anywhere, but it's a good enough reaction everywhere by the looks of things. Oh my god, there's so many DTs. EMP, 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 EMP doesn't realize it. Oh, there's the EMP. That's so many DTs. That was actually so expensive. And not probably worth it. But both players are banking a little bit. And so I guess Maples can do that and not not lose too much, I guess. There was still so many DTs. He does have a bank. He is already in transition to the carriers. He's got double upgrades on the way for Simon X Horse. But as I said, FoxeR wasn't the quickest reaction, was a good enough reaction every which way we looked. On 5 bases, the planetary up to the in the bottom corner. Maples stays ahead by... Wait, no. You're equal actually. Yeah, equal bases. Which I would say, you know, is kind of scary for the Protoss, actually. But getting into the super late game, FoxeR doesn't quite have those Liberators yet. It looks like the Fusion Core was targeted, because I do believe I saw that in production tab earlier. How about the Armory? Armory is safe. Okay, so getting to +2 ship weapons, but a little delayed on the range. Another attack coming in from Maples as I'm on the 3rd. FoxeR does not have a maxed out army. Seems like he's waiting for something. He's got the supply. He's got the minerals and gas. But I don't know if he's realized it. He actually decides to go after this. This is looking like a small enough army now that it's been mass EMP'd as well as the last storm available. He really wants to take the fight, but I don't know if this is quite it. It might be. Another couple of EMPs demolish those Archons. The Colossus running away from the very limited number of Vikings. The Viking shots will get both barely one more shot. Meanwhile, a nuke did go down, but I think it was denied. Maples denying the nuke while also trying to micro the front battle. Ends up staying ahead in supply. Yeah, the nuke was over there, didn't work out. Also trying to get his own DT hit squad. Planetary is being repaired as fast as possible, but not killing the DTs quite fast enough. It was so close. 1 or 2 DTs went down, and that might have just been saved. But thank you very much, Patch. Am I right, fellas? Anyway, the Planetary falls, and it's going to be annoying to replace, but the DTs will be found and killed eventually. Both players holding on, now both having depleted all of their bank in reinforcing. Maples has all these carriers. How many Vikings is FoxeR left with? Only 3. I don't think he hasn't actually known about the Stargates. No, he hasn't. Yeah, he doesn't know about it. So many ghosts, by the way. That's 16 ghosts, 10 Marines, and 3 Vikings. That's what shoots up here. Marauders do not, in fact, shoot up. Scan ahead reveals a mothership. That's okay. Mothership just 1, not that bad. Okay, well, there's a couple carriers as well. There are 5 carriers on the field, but where are they? FoxeR, while he's got the moment, take it, kills the Nexus. Now we got Cloak activated, EMPs reveal. That's what happens. Maples, this army is it good enough? I mean, not for both armies, I'm really not sure. As far as the Stalkers, they were not matching up against the Terran army, but the carriers came in with their interceptors, and there's not a lot of anti-air. They all full on interceptors as well. They've got 2-1 upgrades. Here's the EMPs. There's just a direct fight, but the carriers are the real problem. The Stalkers are all gone. Storms, how many more do we have left? 0. No, 1 more. That is going to be it. Still, the Ghosts are alive. Some Marines are alive. All of the Interceptors are dead, most importantly. And Maples down 40 supply, losing the carriers as they are just paperweights in the sky. FoxeR might have just done it. A grueling 6-hour qualifier. 50% of those games have gone over 20 minutes, swear to God. And he might have finally done it. FoxeR is ahead, 70 supply, has reestablished his corner base, taking another one to the right side. And maybe still can't believe it, he withdraws. He's like, okay, calm it down. We're okay. I can take some time. And he can. He can take some time. Maples has not yet reestablished a base. He's too broke for it, trying desperately to get to a Skytoss army that, I mean, at this point, I really don't believe is going to be good enough. Now FoxeR can very much correct his composition and have enough to deal with a Skytoss. Woof. Yeah, at this point, it's actually very much not good to go into Skytoss. 17 Vikings. This is where maybe you could go back into ground and hope that it works. That's not what he did, though. FoxeR feeling very good about this game. On location, 7th. Plenty of production, 3 starports, 3 upgrades, plus 2 ship weapons, caduceus reactor for the medevacs. And he's got everything he needs. Just needs to actually end it. Maples knows he's pretty screwed. There's only so many choices for him after losing 1 ground army and then 1 air army. Storms have brought back a couple of games. Maybe they could bring it back here. Of course, there's plenty of ghosts, but I actually don't see... How many EMPs do we have? I think all the ghosts don't... They cloaked too long. None of them have an EMP. Okay, some of them do. That's a good storm. Maybe he wants to add on some Liberators. And range out the units in case the EMPs don't quite connect. Couple more EMPs. The last few storms being drained on the Vikings to try and hold the Skytoss. But looks like the Vikings persevere. The bio perseveres, and FoxeR fucking DTs, goddammit. It's okay, it's still not gonna be enough. GG, FoxeR 3-1 will advance into safe house. GG's to both players. Thank you, Maples, for participating. Also going through an almost 6-hour qualifier.